Hello everyone, my name is Wei from the Mobi Media team, and in this video we'll be diving deep into a couple approved Bitcoin ETFs. I'm sure you've heard of the craze recently regarding Bitcoin ETFs, crypto ETFs, and how large institutions are trying to get their ETFs approved as soon as possible. There is an ETF race, and that way billions of dollars will be entering the Bitcoin and crypto world. So the large institutions are trying to get in, and what that means is more money is in crypto and more users will be able to invest into these different products, these different financial products, and that in turn gains more exposure to the cryptocurrency world as a whole. So in this video we'll take a look at a couple already approved ETFs, and it's very interesting because currently the Bitcoin ETFs can only hold Bitcoin futures, contracts, or stocks of companies and other ETFs with exposure to crypto. So they can't own Bitcoin directly, but this is an interesting way of getting into the cryptocurrency world, and in this video we'll be taking a look at a couple of ways of getting into it through ETFs, the traditional index fund kind of investment strategies here that are managed by asset firms. And as always, this is not financial advice at all. This is just news that we're sharing that we find on the web. So make sure to do your own research. So the first one we see here is by ProShares, and this is BTO, and this is a Bitcoin strategy ETF, which aims to produce returns that correspond to Bitcoin. And we see here that it says that there is no guarantee that the fund will closely track Bitcoin returns, as they invest in Bitcoin futures and they do not invest in Bitcoin. So why BTO? It's the world's largest and first US Bitcoin linked ETF, so that's very interesting. It's closely tracked the performance of spot Bitcoin since inception, which again is very interesting, even when they're not directly holding Bitcoin. And the familiarity, liquidity, and transparency of an ETF is there, as well as it's available through brokerage account, so no need for crypto exchange account or wallet for those that are not really interested in getting into crypto that way. So this is the performance here that we could see this since inception, and then we could kind of change the graph here and see what it looks like in recent times. This is a growth of $10,000, and this could be seen on their website, ProShares.com. This is some information on their total returns, some information about the fund, how much they're holding, what their expense ratio is, etc. So this is the ProShares BTO ETF. Let's now jump into another one of ProShares ETFs. This is the short Bitcoin strategy ETF. This is BTTTI, and their objective here is to seek daily investment results before fees and expenses that correspond to the inverse of the daily performance of the S&P CME Bitcoin Futures Index. So this is an interesting goal that they have here, and of course there are some important considerations as well, and then some reasons for why you should invest in BT. So as we said earlier, this company has brought the first and largest US provider of Bitcoin linked ETFs, and it can be bought through your traditional brokerage account. Typically, all ETFs that we see in this video should be able to be purchased through the traditional brokerage account, and the fund provides an opportunity to profit when the daily price of Bitcoin declines. So this is very interesting and could be seen as a big positive. And then make sure to check out this information as well. It gives you some important considerations and information there. This is their daily return and the total return, about the fund, again, additional information, their net expense ratio, how much they're holding, etc. Let's now jump into another company. So this is VanEck, and this is the XBTF, the VanEck Bitcoin Strategy ETF, and this is their year-to-date returns. Pretty impressive, but it's likely because Bitcoin has increased very much year-to-date. It's over doubled. So this year-to-date is pretty close to what Bitcoin's year-to-date is. And here we can see some fun highlights. So Bitcoin futures exposure through a regulated exchange-traded fund. It simplifies the complexities of direct Bitcoin ownership, and there's a C Corp structure which may provide potential for increased tax efficiency. Again, we'll find some more information regarding the fund, their expense ratio, their management fee, their kind of how much they're holding, and all of that information could be found here. So this is their website, VanEck.com. Make sure to check this out if you're interested. Next up, let's look at Valkyrie. So this is the Valkyrie ETF BTF, the Valkyrie Bitcoin Ether Strategy ETF, and it's an actively managed ETF, and it's available through NASDAQ that invests primarily in BTC and Ether futures contracts. Ask your broker or search your account for BTF, and then there's some information for why you should invest in BTF according to them, where you get exposure to the emerging Bitcoin and Ether economies. It's accessible through a traditional actively managed exchange-traded fund. It's secure according to them, and there is expertise, meaning it's managed by a digital asset investment firm. What's also very interesting is that this is not just Bitcoin, this is Bitcoin and Ethereum. So I myself am a fan of both Bitcoin and Ethereum, so this is a pretty nice way of getting into both with one ETF. Of course, it's not mandatory that you get into one that has both. You can just get into a Bitcoin and then get into Ether separately, but this does pool both of those together. So when it goes up and down, I think it shares that profit and loss that both tokens are holding, which may mitigate some losses. This is just a nice picture of their advertising, and then their fund summary. Again, additional information you could find here, and then the expense ratio, their holdings, etc. So make sure to check this out. This is valkyrie-funds.com/BTF. This is Valkyrie's BTF ETF. Now let's jump into Simplify's Maxi Simplified Bitcoin Strategy Plus Income ETF. Again, some information, some numbers here. So their holdings, their fees, etc. All of that could be found. It's a pretty typical kind of set of information that they provide all around, just like your regular average ETF that you'd find. So this is Maxi. This is another one of the Bitcoin ETFs that are out there right now, and they're seeking capital gains and income by providing investors with exposure to BTC, similar to the others, while simultaneously generating income by selling short-dated put and or call spreads on a variety of equity and fixed income instruments, which may include indices, ETFs, or individual securities. So this is very interesting. Seems like on paper they're doing things a bit differently, is what I could see. They're also kind of incorporating other methods of trying to generate revenue. And we can see that they say it's designed to be a capital efficient way to invest in BTC and potentially generate significant income. So it could be seen as BTC exposure with this downside buffer by virtue of the padding the income may create to any Bitcoin drawdowns. And we see that this means the fund does not invest in Bitcoin directly and invests in Bitcoin futures. And lastly, this is Global X's BITS blockchain and Bitcoin strategy ETF. The reasons to consider BITS is because they have Bitcoin futures exposure similarly to the other ones we've seen here. They have long-term growth potential according to them, as they're combining prudent management of Bitcoin future positions with exposure to disruptive companies on the cutting edge of the emerging blockchain technology and digital assets theme. So it seems like they're investing in crypto-based companies, Web3-based companies, and then ETF efficiency. So BIS delivers efficient access to BTC futures and blockchain technology stocks in a single trade. We'll get their holdings information here, their net assets, their total expense ratio, etc. All of the numbers can be found here on globalxetfs.com. So these are the currently approved ETFs that I thought were worth sharing. What do you guys think of this? Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss out on the latest crypto content that we're always posting, as there could be some very valuable information. And if you're interested in any one of these, make sure to go on their websites, check out what they're all about. Do your research, of course, as this is not financial advice at all. Thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.